Reading makes a ready man, writing makes an exact man, and practice makes a perfect man. Dear students, in our last video, we have been discussing about how to prepare for the SST exam and how to do the exams in the exam halls. And in this video, we are going to deal with the subject English, how to prepare for the English literature and grammar exam, and how to do the exams in the exam hall. Just going to discuss some tips and some steps to approach the English exam. First of all, as I tell you always, NCERT is your Bible. So you have two NCERT materials available with you. So you have to go through each and every single stories and the poems at least 4 to 5 times. Minimum I'm talking about. Minimum you have to go through 4 to 5 times. The thing is, when you are reading the chapter or the poem, you must notice one thing, that some of the difficult words are given on the right side of the passage. Of course, you should not ignore that. You must remember the spelling and you must remember the meanings of those words, because by getting an understanding about those words, it will help you to identify and to understand the question in the exam hall easily, and you can answer the questions very easily, and you can manage your timing. And when you are studying your portions before the exam, I will tell you to have a good understanding about any chapter, whether it is a poem or a story or any article, whatever it is. So if you have a guide, a guest book or a guide with you, before entering into the chapter, before reading the chapter, if you have the summary of that particular chapter, first have a reading of that summary, because those summaries may be given in a very simple language which is very easy for you to understand. Then you read the chapters, then easily you will get the meanings, and then easily you will understand what this story is talking about or what this poem exactly meant. Okay, so such kind of pattern will give an ease to you, right? You just try 1 or 2 chapters, definitely you will feel the difference. Now let us talk about the board exam papers. Normally, as all you know, the CBSE exam questions, the board exam questions, it is divided into 3 sections. Section A, it consists of reading area, reading skills. Section B, it includes the writing skill along with the functional grammar. And the third section, section C, it is English language and literature. So here we have a question: which section should I start with? Being an English teacher, let me advise you, this is my opinion, you can accept or reject. But what my experience and what I tell my students in my school, that you try to attend the section A first. Why? Because section A is a reading skill area in which you may get the unpredicted and the unseen paragraphs. You might not have gone through in those passages. Those are the passages you see it for the first time. So it's a time-consuming question areas. So it takes much time to read and understand. Other things, literature, you already you studied those chapters. Functional grammar and writing skills. In writings, you are dealing with the letters and the stories or article, paragraph, whatever it is. And the functional grammar, you have been given the syllabus. So you know what to do in those areas. But in reading skills, you getting the unpredicted, the unseen paragraphs. So it's a time-consuming questions. So it will be better that you try to answer the section A first, so that if those sections are completed in time, so the rest of the 2 sections you can manage very easily, and there will be time spared, and that time will help you to recheck your question papers later. Let me help you with some tips how to attend the reading skill area. So when you get an unseen paragraph, so first of all, before reading the passage, you just read those questions which is given next to the paragraph. So when you read those questions that is set in your brain, in your memory, then you just read those passages. So this time when you read those passages, definitely it will easy for you to find out those answers. And another practical thing, this thing actually you have to start even 3 to 4 months before the exam. You try to solve 3 to 4 unseen paragraphs every single week. You know why I am saying so? Because there may be questions coming in the reading section that the synonyms and antonyms. So it may be a little bit difficult for some of the students whose command is weak over the English language. So if you have a practice, a constant practice of 3 to 4 passages in every week, so it's more enough for you to have a thorough practice on that. Definitely this question will not make a problem in your exam halls. The next one is section B. Section B consists of writing skill along with the functional grammar. This is one of the easiest area to score the full mark. I hope that none of you should lose even a single mark in this writing area. I'm quite sure and confident about this section. If a student had a very good practice before the exam times, definitely he or she will score the complete mark in this writing skill area. In the writing skill area, you have the first and the most important thing that you must notice, that you must have a thorough understanding about the formats, especially about the letter writing, formal, informal, editorial, and all those type of letter writing. You should remember the formats, because even though the content of the body of the letter, if you're not that if you don't have that command over the language, you may be struggling with those body of the language. But if your structure, the format is right, definitely teacher has to give you the half of the mark. If it is 8 mark questions, definitely you will score 4 out of 8 for the format itself. The another thing that you must know, if you are this is only for the students whose command is not good over English. Those students, I give you tips. You should remember, you should by heart some of the sentence, the beginning and the end. Okay, for example, letters, formal letter, informal letters, letter to the editorial letters, then article writing, paragraph writing, story writing. So you should by heart 2 to 3 sentences for the beginning and 2 to 3 sentences at the end of the particular question, because a well beginning is half done. It's a talk in English. So when an evaluator is the first beginning of the answer, and then they will check the end of, because they are checking so many papers, they may be getting fed up with. So the beginning and end, and your format is right. Beginnings 2-3 sentences they read, and they had a look, the format is okay, then they read the end of the thing. Definitely it's a shortcut. It is only for those students whose command over English is not good. Others, if you are confident that your English is so good and you have a command over the English, you don't follow that. You can follow the question. You have to answer the question according to the question, right? And in this question, for letter writing, paragraph writing, story writing, articles and all, student must understand, you must mind the word limit. In every questions in bracket, it is given the word limit 200 words, 150 words, there are 250 words. So you should follow, you should mind that word limit, because if your word limit is exceeding, if it is your answer is more than 250 words, that also will affect your mark, right? So word limit must be considered. How can you be perfect in that? That you cannot do it in the exam hall itself. You have to have a constant practice before the exam itself. Now let us come to the section C. This is the section I suggest you to attempt at the last. Why I am saying so? Because this questions comes from the English literature books. You already learned this. You know this story, you know the meanings of the poem, and you know the answers. So in this section of questions, you don't have to think much. In reading session, you have to read it and understand. It's a time consuming one. And in writing section, you have to think about the formats. You have to think and write. But in section C, it's a literature section. You know the stories and the poems, you know the answers, you know the questions, right? So you don't have to think much in this section. So try to attempt this section C at the last, because first two are important, and section C, it will be easy for you. I promise you, it will be very easy for you if you had gone through at least 2 to 3 times every chapters. And I suggest you, during the exam time, you have to, even though before you have completed those reading of those chapters, during the exam time, you must, I repeat it, you must read those chapters minimum 2 times. And try to answer the long answer questions first, which contains 8 to 10 marks. Because if you complete those long answers, you know the mental pressure will be decreased. The rest of the question you can write in free mind. And the one thing that you must understand, word limit. For the 1 mark question, you just maximum write 1 to 2 sentences more than enough to get your point. Right to the point. You don't have to write the total paragraph. Teacher will get frustrated and you may lose your mark. He may cut the questions the answer directly. So 1 to 2 sentences is more than enough for the 1 mark question. Answer to the point. Only 1 mark you will get. And the 3 mark questions, you can write 3 to 5 sentences. That is maximum. So write to the point. If your idea is not clear in 3 sentences, you can lengthen it up to 5 sentences. 5 sentences maximum. So you will get 3 marks. You don't cross those limits. The word limits are given in the bracket. So you should mind those word limits. Otherwise, it will affect your marks. And again, I say that read your NCERT materials thoroughly and get a clear understanding about every single stories. And finally, I would like to give you some of the important tips which will help you to present your paper in a very fine manner through which you can impress your teacher. First of all, time management. You are getting 3 hours for this exam. So you have 3 sections. So you divide for each section, you just give 50 minutes each. So if you targeting 50 minutes, it may complete before 50 minutes, maximum 55 minutes. So even though if you take 55 minutes for each section, the total questions will be answered in 2 hours 45 minutes. 15 minutes are left. So this 15 minutes you can have a final recheck in all the answer sheets. Definitely you have to, this is a must do thing. You have to do this rechecking of all the papers. You have to check the answers, you have to check the question numbers, the codes, everything you have to check. So this final 15 minutes, it will definitely help for you. And this, how can you make it possible and practical? This has to be practiced even before the exam time. And another important thing is how can you make your presentation in a very attractive way? How can you attract the attention of the evaluator? The first thing, use the black ink to write the key words. Second, leave proper space between the words and after every questions. After every answers, you leave one line and underline the important points. And if you have any subheadings, that also should write in black inks. So if you follow these patterns, your paper will be very attractive. And teachers are mentally very much stressed those times when they are checking the papers. So after checking 2, 3 or 5 papers having very bad handwriting, and after that they get your paper having a good presentation, even though your answers are very less, but that will give, the good presentation will give a mental relax to the teachers. Definitely it's a positive side for your paper. It will help you. And finally, the most important thing that you need to do is you must have a practice with minimum two question papers of the previous years when the exam days are very close, right? So this will help. The 2 years, 2 question papers of the previous years will definitely, solving those questions will definitely help you to have the time management and presentation, and all these things you can apply. Definitely you will not have any problem in attending your English exam. Of course, I promise you, if you follow this pattern, if you follow and consider NCERT book as your Bible and follow the things that I am telling in this video, definitely 95 will be the least mark. But I hope that all my viewers and all my students must get 97 plus. And I wish you to get 100 on 100. It is possible. Nothing is impossible. Everything is possible. 100 on 100 is possible with you. Don't leave it.